You're listening to an All Games Radio Network broadcast of AllGames.com.
AllGames.com.
Hi, this is Normie from Knuckleballer Radio and Zombie Cast, and you're listening to one of my favorite shows on the Geeky Antics Network. Don't forget to check out the rest of the gang over at geekyantics.net. Warning, there might be rants and food ahead and possibly inappropriate behavior. Don't tell anybody though.
What's up, guys? Yomar here, aka YogiZilla. I just have a real quick call to action today. If you want to support the Geeky Antics Network, it's a really simple thing you could do. We give you a few links, and all you gotta do is click on them, share them, like them. You do all the social media stuff. Ideally, buy something, but it's not required of you. Of course, this is just a way to help our sponsors out and help us pay our bills, and we just humbly ask that you share these links as much as you can. No pressure, but we would greatly appreciate it. I mean, we get it. Lots of people don't have money these days, disposable income, what is that? So donating is not always a thing, but clicking links and sharing stuff on social media, I think everybody could do that. So the links are very simple. They all start with geekyantics.net/whatever, right? So one is geekyantics.net/shiny the other one is geekyantics.net/weddings, and then we have geekyantics.net/Martin Septic. And if you just share those and tell some friends, check them out, see what's out over there. And if you like what you see, definitely spread the word. I'm sure you know at least 5 people that might be at least mildly interested. And we'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
You're about to listen to the Timey-Wimey Tea Time Podcast, a geekyantics.net and allgames.com production. Find out what everyone's talking about. The Doctor, of course. Doctor Who? Exactly, that Doctor. Join us live at www.twitch.tv/geekyantics. That's GEEKYANTICS. Hang out with us, ask questions, laugh, and have at it. We can't wait to hear what's on your minds and hearts.
Tiny Wimey Tea Time.
Greetings and welcome to Timey-Wimey Tea Time, where friends gather to talk about all things Doctor Who, sci-fi, fantasy, zombies, creativity, and geekdom as a whole. But before we get into all of that, allow me to introduce myself. In the words of Stan Farina, author, friend, and former co-host, I'm Yomar Lopez, known throughout the interwebs and sometimes the Whoverse as YogiZilla. Friends at IRL call me Yogi. Yep, just plain Yogi. You call me Yogi. I hope we can become friends. I hope that you see me as a friendly guy. Ooh, and I forgot to change the channel title. This is not Retro Friday. This is Timey-Wimey Tea Time episode 43. I'll change that in a second. But Stan has also been known to say that I'm a gamer, a dreamer, an author of silliness, a disgruntled techie, a wild-eyed entrepreneur, and a fistful of happy emojicons and sunshine. I ride into the battle upon a glittering My Little Pony. Out of my mouth come laughing swords of peppermint and ginger. Above all, I hope that we can become friends as we embark upon a journey through time and space, the human condition, and merriment/bantering. So what's going on, guys? It's January 9th, 2016. Happy New Year! It's our first show of the year. I'm multitasking here, so I'm going to probably brain fart a little bit. Let's see. So we'll just say this, today we're going to talk about One Punch Man, Daredevil, and top games of 2015. Let's say video game awards for the hashtag. Get a little link juice going. And this is a gaming talk show, in part. We are streaming on Twitch. Should probably change that ahead of time, but I say there. We'll keep going. We'll keep running. Anyway, yeah, Happy New Year. You know, it's been a time of milestones. You know, Geeky Antics Network is in year 3. By the way, you can visit us at geekyantics.net or look us up on Facebook. We have a new voicemail line. I want to make sure I say that at the top of the hour. 646-801-2149. Again, 646-801-2149. You can text us or leave us a message at that line, and we can play it live or we can read the transcript. It's super fancy, catching up with the times. You know, another thing that's interesting too. A lot of our hosts, we have over 5 years of podcasting and/or streaming experience, making videos, whatever. We've been doing the content creation stuff. Quite a few of us are writers. You know, I'm a ghostwriter. I do copyright editing, copywriting. You know, we wear a lot of different hats. But I tell you, man, you know, time really does fly by when you're having fun. And we're having fun here on the gang. The gang's having a good old time. That's what we do here at Geeky Antics. We're also on allgames.com. I'm going to repeat that more often because I want to make sure that we give love to our partner networks. I think that's the proper phrase to use. We're not formal partners, but we're partner networks. We're sister networks, whichever way you want to say it. So, before we get into the more banter and the meat and potatoes of the show, let's look at our intergalactic star map. This is where we kind of just outline what we intend to cover on the show. Intend is the operative word there. And just making sure everything's recording properly, streaming properly. I'm testing new setup. Looks good. We're streaming on allgames.com. Everything, no lag. All right, this is good. So first up, we have, as always, before we go deeper, and that's been coined thanks to our community. They're like, hey, go deeper, guys, go deeper. So before we go deeper, this is where we just kind of do a little housekeeping, some announcements. Talk about stuff going on over at geekyantics.net throughout our network. You know, some of the haps throughout our community and our sister networks, etc., etc. Then we'll have a creative corner where we're gonna talk a little bit about metadata, timestamps, and things of the sorts. I also want to talk about lucid dreaming. Yeah. I meant to write a little bit about that there, so I probably won't have time to do that. I've typed fast, but talking and typing is probably not going to happen. Let's see. Hold up. I feel like I'm missing something here. Oh, no, we're good. And we do make the show notes publicly available now. You know, so you guys can see what was talked about on the show. Kind of jump around to the parts you like. It's usually written in chronological order. All right. I said one little blurb about the lucid dreams thing. Touch upon it at least. Maybe next episode we'll go deeper into it. But I want to say it while it's fresh. I'm going to share what I can remember of a dream I had recently. It's pretty off the wall stuff. Then we're not going to do Who Knew. We'll skip the news today. Keep it a little more open, a little less rigid, a little more freeform, if you will. No Who banter, so there won't be any Doctor Who talk today. Again, keep you fresh. We're not just strictly a Doctor Who show. And for Tea Time Tidbits, we'll discuss a little bit about Daredevil and One Punch Man, and also my guilty pleasure. This is all TV stuff. And in the gaming verse, I'll share my top games of 2015. Not necessarily the games that came out in 2015, but games that I played in 2015. Alright, so before we go deeper, top of the show, we like to do a little housekeeping. So here we'll share ways you can support the show, join our community, keep the conversation going, etc., etc. I mean, of course, like I said earlier, we have major announcements, including new Geeky Antics projects and collaborations. So again, reinforcing the messaging, there's a new voicemail / SMS hotline, so you can leave us a message or text us at 646-801-2149 if you're in the U.S. Outside of the U.S., international calls 011-646-801-2149. Of course, you can visit us at facebook.com/Geeky Antics or email us a short MP3. MP3, make sure it's MP3 because WAV files at PCMs, they're huge and they don't lend themselves well to a podcast. So make sure it's an MP3 and you send that. Try to keep it, a minute or less. Send that to mail@geekyantics.net. Or that's the general email. If it's for this show specifically, twtt@geekyantics.net. Our Steam gift exchange is still going. There hasn't been as much of a response for this, and what little response we've gotten, I gather that people feel guilty about getting free stuff, especially if it's something they probably won't use. Some folks have just straight up said, give the game to someone else that I actually play it, because my gaming plate's kind of full or my schedule's kind of tight, so I know I won't get a chance to play it. So we are doing a Steam gift exchange. Some of these games will be giving us prizes during our shows, depending on what kind of levels of engagement we see. So if you get hyped, we might just randomly do a little giveaway. But otherwise, what we'll do is just, if you're interested in a game that we list there, on the Steam community page, you go to steamcommunity.com/groups/horseplay, or just look up horseplay on the Steam app, and you can join us. We might drop some codes in there. But better, what we prefer to do is, if you're really interested in a particular game, let us know, and then we'll give you that game more than likely. Most of these games are multiplayer games, online games, and we'd like to have it go to people that we could actually play with, and do community stuff with. So that's our gift exchange. We're keeping the holiday spirit going strong for the foreseeable future. As you can tell, I still have a Christmas kind of theme going here on my overlay. I was about to do webcam today, but I was like, I know a lot of people won't even come to a channel if there's no webcam, but that's okay. Because the people that need that extra eye candy or judge based on looks or whatever, they're not our audience. It's the people that look at the overlay and say, hey, what's this about? It's colorful. Oh, they got some text I could read. I wonder what that's about. Maybe it's discussion topics. Oh, they look like they're talking about a lot of cool stuff. People that read the title. They say, One Punch Man. I love One Punch Man. Daredevil. Ooh, Top Game in 2015. I'd love to be a part of that conversation. Those are the folks we want here at Tea Time. So, speaking of listening to us live or viewing us live, we are live every other Saturday, usually, at allgames.com/live. Join the chat there. It's our IRC chat room. It's pretty cool. A lot of cool people in there. Right now we have Burr, D Blue Guy, Billy OK, who's got a book. What's it called? My Friends on Politics, I believe it's called. He's crowdfunding for the next 114 days or so. If he gets 250 pre-orders, it'll be published through the platform. If he gets 750 pre-orders or greater, not only will it get published, but it'll be distributed in actual bookstores, and they'll represent him and help him promote the book through the usual social/marketing channels. So that's pretty cool. Fifth Dream is here. Kazan, the bots are here as usual. Cambot and Pixelbot. They can be pretty sassy. Zappy's in here. Warham is here twice. So look at you. You're cool. Got 2 accounts. Too cool for school, I tell ya. Doomplay. We got Derek H, of course, the guy that heads up allgames.com these days. He's the voice and I guess the face of all games, but it's still Scott Rubin's baby. And nice little crowd here. I think everybody's still waking up, so it's rather quiet. Heck, I'm still waking up. Of course, you can join us right here on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Geeky Antics, where we have not just Time and Whammy Tea Time, but we have Horseplay Live, and we got Sunday Dose, we got Star Wars Rebels Cast UK, tons of shows. And lots of stuff, lots of gameplay streams and fun stuff. Community gaming nights, we call them gang nights. Of course, gang stands for Geeky Antics Network Global. It had nothing to do with anything violent. Want to get that out there. So definitely be sure to check out our other shows. You can see our schedule at geekyantics.net/schedule. Just keep in mind that the other shows on All Games, Geeky Antics, Worst Radio Show, all our networks, all our other platforms, they may not be your cup of tea. And there's certainly much more risque stuff out there. We're also teamed up with the Tangent Bound Network and Musings of a Geek Network, as well as AM Audio Media. You may have mentioned them named before. You may remember or recall them being mentioned before. Wow, English. But make sure you Google and Bing them and check out all the stuff they have. Tangent Bound Network has like over 100 or 200 podcasts. It's insane. I thought we were huge. I thought All Games was huge, but wow, that's a lot of content, and they have it split up into different categories, which is really neat. We're gonna be doing a lot more collaboration with them too, some mashup / crossover type shows. Also be sure to check out our sponsors. Give them a like, comment, share, +1, subscribe, etc. All that stuff. Even if you don't buy stuff, all that social stuff helps us keep the lights on, and it makes them super happy. Some links here: geekyantics.net/tangent-bound and geekyantics.net/sponsors to see our Hall of Heroes, the friends of the network, our clients, our sponsors, our affiliate offers, all that good stuff. And as I mentioned before, I'm kind of rebooting TWTT and tweaking some things, shuffling some things around, streamlining a bit. I'm still wondering, I would like some feedback. Should we do the show after Doctor Who airs in the US? Just at a later time, maybe? Noon doesn't seem to be working anymore, noon Eastern. And I figured we could capture some of the European crowd, but it's not happening. Saturday's just a tough spot. We're gonna say Saturday, though. It's nice having something. Not that many podcasts on Saturdays, at least during the afternoon. So I kind of like being in that special place. But of course, there might be a reason why there's not many podcasts on Saturdays. So send us your thoughts. TWTT@geekyantics.net. Of course, the Facebook page, facebook.com/geekyantics. We have forums. I know people don't like using forums as much now, but they are there, and we have some good activity there. geekyantics.net/forums. And the text/voicemail line, 646-801-2149. 646-801-2149. We have Twitter, Geeky Antics. My Twitter is YogiZilla. And of course, use the hashtag TWTT for searches or when you're talking about the show or anything relevant to our audience. And, we discuss fandoms as a whole, not just Doctor Who or The Walking Dead. We do some anime. We love video games. A little bit of everything here at Tea Time. Let's jump right into our creative corner. I see some people jumping into the chat. I'll let them lurk for a bit. I won't call them out. But I know people like lurking on the Twitch. But in our creative corner, what you usually find here is our TWTT word of the day, our writing/creative prompts, inspirational quotes, introspective thoughts, and just creative tips. Should probably put that in the show notes. That covers all the things. So today's TWTT word of the day is a word that really stood out for me. There was a lot of great ones this week, as always. It's just where, every 2 weeks, we do the show on a fortnight. Every fortnight. There were 2 weeks worth of words to choose from the word of the day. And it was tough. But this one stood out for me because it struck me as one of those things you might see in a roaring, perhaps a swinging 20s. I think those are both proper terms to describe the 1920s, and then that kind of setting, where maybe you might see a guy wearing a zoot suit and kind of doing a "man, she" kind of thing, "man, coppers, she, Curtis for you, she." I love that time period. Maybe a reason why I'm a big fan of Agent Carter. It's not 1920s, but it's 50s, and kind of a similar kind of vibe I get from that era as well. So this word is brought to you by the letter W, and I'm finding typos here in the show notes. It's going to probably get my OCD to kick in. So it's brought to you by the letter W, the Wonder Swan, and the wonderful white wizards who keep questing parties alive during dungeon runs and delves. That's a little reference to the Elder Scrolls Online, BTW, or it's about any MMO really. But we've been hitting TSO pretty hard, and I remember why I've avoided MMOs for so long, because good lord, they are a time sink. Not time sink, a time sink. And I just realized why I said sing, because I'm reading the words of the day, and of course it's wingding, and that rhymes with sing. That's how my brain works. My mind wanders quite a bit. So wingding is pronounced just as it's spelled. It's a slang, meaning it's a noun. It means a noisy, exciting celebration or party, or a fit either induced by drugs or feigned. So when you go into a fit, it could be a wingding. It's like, oh man, they're going through quite the wingding. Man, see? Here it is using the quote. This quote is borrowed from John Irving, the work The World According to Garp, 1978. The quote is, Garp glared at Roberta Muldoon. I loved her, he said. I'm her only child. Do you mean I can't go to this wingding because I'm a man? Oh man, that's not fair. That's not fair at all. I like that. There you go. I can't go to this wingding. It's an exciting celebration or party. I like that celebration or party. A word that refers to a party can also be a word referring to like raging, essentially. So the origin, as I suspected, the rhyming compound wingding is an Americanism from the 1920s. There you go. There you go. Now I'm taking a sip of water. You'd stay hydrated. All right. So a little bit of a creative conundrum today. We've been doing a lot of creative conundrums ever since we kind of revamped our creative corner and brought it back. So, your conundrum, your challenge might be that you spend tons of time creating your content, putting it out there. I would say most people spend 90%, maybe 100% of the time creating their content, just getting it out there. That's great. In business, they say just ship, right? But it's stuff that's just as valuable. We've said this before. If you're a Twitch streamer, you shouldn't just stream. You should also promote and collaborate and visit other channels, support others, curate content, et cetera, et cetera. So the stuff you do beyond creating the content, getting it out there, that's just as important, if not more. We content creators tend to get caught up on the content side. We spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours a month perfecting our content. With video, I would love to I could totally make really professional videos with cross-fading, and at the end have like a little summary screen where you have other video clips and different things you can click on, and do all these cool special effects, the third row type of things, some, I don't know, little overlays or whatever, post-production stuff, of the sort. But that takes a lot of effort, and the reason I try not to do that too much, I want to keep my efforts as grassroots as possible, so it's more approachable. And some people say it doesn't look as professional, but what I say that frees me up more to do the other stuff that I think is more important. Bringing people to your content, because really by the time we're done creating the content, and if you're a perfectionist, you may overdo it, or overthink it. The little steps afterwards, they're forgotten, and we end up cutting some corners here and there. Wow, I can't talk today. I don't know. I may have to do the show a little later because I'm not fully alert at this time. I even got up early today, drank some coffee, walked around a bit. Yep, I'm a night owl. It's just me. But the big takeaway here, before we get into some tips, is that context is just as important, if not more, than content. So think about context. That's what we're talking about here. That people, I think, are aware of this, yet we often glance over it. Or we just decide it's not as important. It's not important enough to bother with. And I'm guilty of this myself. Between family, project work, community, gaming, putting out the Geeky Answers content consistently. I'm trying to get more to a daily schedule with our editorial calendar and whatnot. After doing all that stuff, there's kind of little room to go the extra mile, and A lot of us make the excuse, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. And really, what that usually is, that objection, that pushback, is us making excuses, setting us up. We set up ourselves to fail. And really, when you say that, what you're really saying is this is not important enough for me to make that time. Because there's always some way you can free up that time. That's the reality of it. No one's that busy. Otherwise, when the heck would we go, to the bathroom, and do little things we should be doing, showering, cleaning, and then there are some people that don't really do those things on a regular basis, at least. So I guess that's something to be said about time management, and that's always kind of in this behind the scenes and everything we discuss, right? So how do we decide what is worth it, and what's just busy work? You have to draw that line, and say, well, I spend a lot of time doing this, but what is it really doing for me? There's the sad part, unfortunate part about it is that there are things that create value, but they're more long-term value. So you won't get that immediate gratification. So it's a little rough. It's a little rough. Pacemakers in the chat here. What's up? Raginator. Oh, and Cousins just said something. All right, so there's a little activity here in All Games chat. So anyway, really, that part about drawing the line, that's for another discussion. We could talk about time management, all its facets, left and right. But I can tell you this much. Metadata and SEO is something everyone should consider. I want to underline that for those that read the show notes after the show. You can either hire someone like me. I often do more work for others than myself, to be honest. I go the extra mile again and again for our clients and sponsors. But when it comes to me, I get a little lazy too, so I understand. Or just do the simple little things. There's simple little things you can do to create that context. And now there's a new member of the gang that took some initiative recently, and I'm gonna put a little sidebar here. Shout out to Bear1 on YouTube. Now he doesn't do anything on YouTube, but apparently he enjoyed our videos so much that he left some timestamps in the comments area. And at one point, he commented on Rampage Nights, one of the little hidden gems I discovered in 2015. He said, epic boss battle at this time. And boy, was that an epic boss battle. That boss cheated. That's all I'm going to say for now. So thank you for that, Bear1. Really appreciate it. And it just made me realize, I need to go back to these videos and give them a little more context, because there's a lot of great stuff there. And we've talked before about repurposing content. So anyway, he put the timestamps in there and his favorite videos. He added them to playlists. And that was really cool. And it got me thinking that this is one of the simplest opportunities we could all explore with podcasts and videos alike. I can't tell you how many podcasts I listen to that have really short descriptions. They don't bother with keywords. So the chances of someone finding them through a keyword search are, little to none. And then, also seeing Bear1 do this, it reminded me that people are paying attention, even if they are just lurking. Most people will lurk, but eventually they might just say something, and usually when they get to that point, it might be something negative, or they just nicely say, hey, you should really have timestamps here. So, if you do like a video, I usually don't bother chopping up videos into like 5 to 15 minute segments, because it's a lot of extra work, and we have a lot of content going out. But it's something that is worth doing because people have short attention span. So what I do is I put out long plays, longer videos, an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours. And I try to give people a general idea of what all is in there. But I don't chop it up or put the timestamp. That's something I need to get better at, because, it makes stuff more digestible. So, metadata as a whole comes in many flavors. And I look at metadata as all the stuff that describes content and provides context, not just keywords and categories, though that's a big part of it. Think of it as the gift wrapping for your content. All right, metadata helps you with discovery and search, SEO, which is improving relevance and search engine rankings, and there's also a competitive intelligence, a corporate intelligence aspect, a brand sentiment piece to SEO, where you're doing searches yourself in the process of improving your relevance, your context, and getting higher in the search rankings. The SEO, the SERPs, the SERPs, the search engine rank pages. You find out more about your brand and what other people are doing and how well you're describing yourself and aligning yourself. And again, metadata also helps you providing context and at-a-glance descriptions or descriptors. So people could just, most people are going to give things a cursory look. They're not going to read everything verbatim or really pay attention. We just had someone that just came in the chat, listened for like 5 seconds and left. That happens all the time. And that's fine. They'll take that personally. It's, I always say, be firm. If you're doing something you believe in, and the way you want to do it, the way you would like to experience yourself, put yourself in the shoes of your audience, the consumer you're trying to target, to put in marketing terms. And if you really believe in what you're doing, keep doing it that way. Eventually, it will click with people. But there are certain set standards. Like sometimes I don't buy the webcam. People say, well, I'll tell you, 90% of the time, if it doesn't have a webcam, I'm not going to go to visit that channel. That's fine. But for the few that do come to listen to the message, boom, you got some quality stuff here, something a little different. I think it's quite different, trying to share that little bit of a niche, or some people like to say a niche. And they're both perfectly acceptable. Metadata also helps you being picked up by syndication curation platforms. If people discover you, they may reblog you. They may share your content. They may favorite it. I can't tell you how many times I find content that's picked up by random sites I never heard of. They share our videos, our blog posts, whatever, our podcasts, and I'm like, hey, cool. It doesn't bother me because that's free advertising. Robbie Hondro in the house. Robbie Hondro from The Worst Radio Show. You guys hear me talk about these guys all the time. Go visit them, twitch.tv/ The Worst Radio Show. They got a bunch of podcasts themselves, and they're part of the gang, the Geeky Antics Network. They got the Destiny Podcast Infinity, that's the Destiny podcast. Of course, the flagship show, The Worst Radio Show, and they also sometimes do the Dark Zone podcast for the Division, which I think they're working into Podcast Infinity now, consolidating a bit. So yeah, make sure you go visit them. Though now the Worst Radio Show channel, if I'm not mistaken, is being used to host their individual streamers, the stream team members. Folks like Robbie Hondro, K Magic 101, Pete X Jr., Chef Wayne Face. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people. Yeah, I just said that, Robbie. You're going to use it to host your channels. See, got it. Nailed it. I'm on top of things, man. I pay attention to all our team members. I'm on top of it, bro. But yeah, I am flying solo today. I think it's going to be an ongoing thing. Because it's just, I either have to change the time, or I might have to send some feelers out and get some reliable co-hosts. You might hear my cat in the background singing. She's very chatty today. I think she's in heat. We got to get her fixed. That, or sometimes she spazzes out when she sees an owl in the backyard, or this other cat that's trying to like get her attention, and it freaks her out. She just freaks out like, meow, man. She's trying to let me know that there's something out there. It's pretty funny. I love animals. I'm a big animal guy. What else is good in metadata good for? So it helps you organize, filter, and navigate your content better. Think about that user experience. The easier it is for people to find things and identify things, the better it is for you, because your content not only will be out there, but it will have long-lasting value. Last but not least is double-checking quality. And the last one is huge because I think we should all be rewatching, rereading, and re-listening to our content. Or if you're doing game design, replaying. Really, stress testing and double-checking, proofreading kind of, so to speak, the work that we do. Now, you don't have to do it immediately, but it's something you should do. In fact, it might be better to look at your most popular content and your personal favorites, stuff that you really want to get out there and spread to more people. Might have a powerful message, or a little-known game you want to share and you did a review, or an app that you love and you did a review for it. There's all kinds of things we want to get out there. May have a guide. We have a bunch of Twitch guides and people love them. And, it's something where you go, oh, this is people respond to this, so I really want more people to hear this message or experience this content. So, you refresh it with some metadata so it keeps it more evergreen, that long-lasting value. And again, we always talk about repurposing and refreshing content, because if you keep your site fresh, if you keep your content fresh, people will keep finding, it'll keep coming up in searches, and it'll keep becoming parts of conversations. Now, we put out tons of content throughout our network. I mean, the Worst Radio Show, they're doing streams daily. They're doing tons of podcasts, community gaming, and community chats. And they're just a group of within, the Geeky Antics Network. And we have other people doing the same thing. So there's tons of content out there, and it could be overwhelming. And overall, we don't always dot our I's or cross our T's, But now I'm thinking, me personally, I'm definitely going to dedicate at least one day a week to going back to older content and finding ways to update it. Highlighting our best content, and creating little spotlights, adding tags, choosing categories, creating backlinks, embedding the content. If you look at analytics on YouTube, for example, it'll show you how people find your content mostly, and you'd be surprised how many people find it through embedded, like portals. There's a lot of portal sites out there. You'd be surprised that just embedded random content based on keyword searches, and then that's generating more traffic, more views for you, getting those metrics up, son. There's just so many ways to repurpose the content, I hear a podcast or I watch a video from our team that I love. I'll create a blog post about it, share my thoughts on it, or invite some of our writers to do the same. And that's something I want to get the rest of our team doing more of, that cross promotion, because once you start integrating things and going across your points of presence, your main website, your main channel, that's when you really start doing a lot with your content, and it really just it gets some wings, not legs. You give it wings, and all these little things. They when you repurpose the content, you refresh it. It creates more opportunities to provide that better context and make your content more digestible, easy to find, and relevant. So don't just set it and forget it. That's another takeaway. Don't just set it and forget. I'm gonna boldface that. And again, our show notes will be available. The link to the show notes on Google Drive will be available in the podcast description, so you'll be able to see that on iTunes, Stitcher, etc. I should put that on YouTube too. I think I've been doing that. Every blog post, book, video game, mobile app, podcast episode, stream highlight, Facebook post, everything creates an opportunity to be evergreen and to drive value exponentially, because the more you do it, the more value. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio. You do those little things that make that each piece of content just boom. So that one piece of quality content could be a conversation starter, and a new visitor, fan, friend, whatever you want to call them, kind of entry point for years to come. Do not undervalue your content. That's your baby. So nurture it, and you could always revisit your content and just give it the love it rightfully deserves, and you should. You really should. Now, some shameless plugs. If you don't, have the time, or if you don't feel you don't have the time, or just don't want to learn the ins and outs of content marketing, SEO, inbound marketing, promotions, etc., we can help you. Go to geekyantics.net/services. My personal blog, which I don't update as much now, but it tells you some of the services I offer. Yogizilla.wordpress.com. Or email me, Yomar@geekyantics.net, and I could point you to the right person that can help you out if it's not me. So one last piece here for our creative corner. I want to talk about dreams, particularly lucid dreams. And I think it's something really fascinating, because for those of us that still have dreams at our older age, it's something really you should value. Dreams are a way for our subconscious to speak to us, and I feel it. If you don't, some people might think that we have out of body experiences, or we go to an alternate dimension. Hey, I'll buy that, sure. But in a more grounded view, I think it's our creative urges, our yearnings, our inner people talking to us, and that's kind of neat, because I tell you, I have some of the most wild dreams, and people say, when I describe them with people, I describe them to people, they're like, huh? What, were you high or drunk? Like, what, were you watching something crazy before you went to bed? And usually, the answer is no. So on all counts, surprisingly, I just have, I'm a lucid dreamer. And I think it's something that's important. Like, if you can get into the habit of trying to remember your dreams, keep a dream journal or write them down. That's something I need to do more of. Keep that journal near your bed, and when you get up first thing, just write it down. And sharing dreams, sharing them with others. You may not want to share them publicly, but share them that depends on your comfort level. But share them with friends you trust. Someone that give you a hard time, you don't feel bad about it, because what that does, that gets you into the habit of storytelling. When you can take something that's usually pretty abstract and kind of out of sorts, disconnected, and put it into a cohesive story, it's a really good practice for content creation, especially if you're a writer. My last dream, and my cat's like trying to give me attention. Come on, baby girl. What's up? What you need? You want to go on my lap? I think someone just came to our house and she's like wants to go out there and greet them. Maybe I'll open the door for her in a little bit. She's in the man cave here with me. This the studio, quote unquote. So my last dream was very interesting. See if I can remember it now, off the top of my head. It involves a very awkward, like, high school and elementary school reunion. Somehow they were combined together. I was in a giant table with quite a few people I didn't get along with everyone. People I really don't care for because I think they're inauthentic, selfish, perhaps pompous or pretentious. And it was just awkward, so I ran away from it. Apparently I was very successful. I was just rolling in the money. But I could tell that in that kind of movie, that cinematic thing, I was unhappy or feeling unfulfilled. So I just decided I had to get out of there. And I ran off, and then I was trying to call for a helicopter to extract me. And then somehow I just kept walking really fast, and I ended up in an event space. They started building around me very rapidly with tents and like bleachers and stuff. And it was like some kind of weird SeaWorld thing where they had swimming wolves wearing missile launchers and lots of dolphins and some other shenanigans. And then every time a helicopter came down, I thought it was mine. It ended up being some like hip hop artist that was coming down to join the event. And I was like, "Where's my helicopter?" It was very strange. What is the dream really saying? Let me go tend to my cat because she's freaking out over here. Okay, kitty cat. Such a brat. Like everyone else in my family. Love him to death, but good lord. I'm gonna die in a few years. It's been good knowing you guys. That's probably not something I should joke about. I'm being silly. Anywho, so sometimes when you look at these dreams, maybe not try to decipher them, but I like to see what kind of context, what it tells me from a storytelling perspective, and just from like my psyche, kind of, my id or my ego, if you will. There's some interesting insight there. I think what it says is that I'm tired of fake people, and my mind, I'm like finally saying, you know what? I'm not gonna make time for people that hold me back and just knock the wind out of my sails. And that's definitely something I feel. I notice that I'm spending more time with people that I feel are real. And I think that's an important thing. There's a lot of toxic people in the world, And sometimes we just gotta get out of there. Just run and get to a safe place. But I think on the flip side, the dream could be telling me, sometimes there's other ways to get away from those things. Not necessarily, getting extracted with a helicopter. But that's fun stuff. I hope you enjoy that insight. It's a little intimate sharing there. I see Tiger Claw in the chat. What's up, bro? But yeah, dreams, they're very powerful things. And maybe we'll make that a consistent thing where we'll share our dreams. Hopefully we'll get some chat interaction there. It gets you out of your comfort zone when you share dreams. It's such a personal thing, right? I think it's a good exercise all around. Not just for creative spirit. I think psychologically, emotionally, when you speak your emotions and your thoughts out loud, it's very freeing. Like right now, I already feel like a burden lifted off of me. Like, hey, I'm glad I shared that. I'm glad I'm getting that out there. Show your warts. That's a big part, I think, of modern marketing, especially if you're really big online, social media. If you want to create a brand that's approachable, if you just want to make friends, show your warts, because at the end of the day, the people that see your flaws and embrace them, those are the people that are going to be worth your time anyway. So it's time for Tea Time Tidbits, and a little quick word of warning here. My recommendations here, for the most part, are not safe for work and not safe for kids. I would say these recommendations are for teens and up. I know we have a pretty wide range of ages in our audience. We gate our Twitch channel, so only mature. It says mature audiences only, but people still click through when they're underage. So parental guidance is definitely suggested, and I'll leave that out to you, responsible parents out there, to decide what's appropriate for your kids or not. So, lately I've been back into heavy content creation, development work, client services, and of course, gaming. But I have squeezed in some TV, and I got 3 series to share today. 3 of them. So let me prep with a little water swig here. Boom. All right. Now I'm properly lubricated to speak more. It's tough when you don't have a co-host, because doing a solo show, it's rough. I'm doing this live. This is uncut. Chances are, no matter where you're listening to this or viewing this, if you're on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, which is also available on Xbox now, woohoo! Player FM. I think I covered the main bases. Chances are that you're listening to an uncut version, so all the pauses, mistakes, everything is in there. This is me live. And I've been doing this for a long time, but it never gets completely easy. You always have to kind of remind yourself of certain things, like not messing with stuff on your desk, not fidgeting too much, maintaining a proper position from the microphone, etc., etc. Anywho, my first pick is Daredevil, which is a Netflix original series. They're coming out with season 2 this year. And it's got a special place in my heart because Hell's Kitchen, I don't know if you guys know this, is where I spent most of my life. I grew up in Hell's Kitchen. Technically, I grew up in South Clinton, which is right on the border of Hell's Kitchen, but it was considered to be Hell's Kitchen. We had a Hell's Kitchen Chinese restaurant, for Pete's sake. A lot of the mobster movies and things of the sort were filmed there too. So I was there when that stuff happened. It was neat seeing the filming of certain things, running into actors and whatnot. But I'll tell you the truth, I wasn't always a huge Daredevil fan. I think a big part of that was because I had some friends that were huge Daredevil fans, and they kind of killed it for me. I always disliked things being overhyped. I guess I'm a hipster in that aspect. Because a lot of times people hype things up, it's never as good as what they paint it out to be. Like, your imagination takes it to a different place, and your expectations can't be met at that point. And if you have a very vivid imagination like I do, you try to scale back your expectations, but by then it's too late. Honestly, for the kind of gritty city kind of settings, particularly Hell's Kitchen, I prefer Elektra or The Punisher, stuff like that. And the Ben Affleck movie, I think, kind of killed Daredevil for a bit too. But this series, I'm gonna tell you, this series has made me a believer through and through. The Spartan Show in the house. What's up, Mike? Just in time for a little TV talk. Chime in. Let me know if you've been watching any of this. The Daredevil is just it's gritty, it's action packed, and it's well written. The dialogue on the show, the story points, the development of the plot, and the characters, it's well written. I don't know what else to say. I mean, they did a fantastic job with the casting. I'm particularly thrilled with the actor who plays Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox. He's great, and I love Karen Page, the girl who plays Karen Page, Deborah Ann Hall. She's from True Blood. She's great. She kind of reminds me of a lesser known Scarlett Johansson. I don't know, for some reason they look similar to me. She's very pretty, very, very pretty. I'm also a huge fan of Rosario Dawson. I think she got her start on Kids, right? She was on Clerks 2 and some other stuff. What was the Alexander the Great movie? Or was it Troy? I forget now. She's been in a bunch of stuff though, and I always like her. I think she's a great actress, and she's also easy on the eyes, I gotta say. I hope she doesn't get killed off because they seem to be foreshadowing that quite a bit. By the way, there might be a little bit of spoilers, some light spoilers, maybe. There's other great actors on this show. I mean, again, great casting. They got Elder Henson, who plays Foggy Nelson. I love that guy. He's a great supporting actor. Vondi Curtis Hall, who plays Ben, the reporter. Scott Glenn, who plays what I would say is the Western version of Zatoichi, the blind swordsman. He does that quite well. He just kicks butt. He's the old man that kicks butt. And that's always a nice little trope. I like that, though. You know, because people don't always expect a blind person or a cripple or an old person to be tough. And when they are, it's like, hey, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty badass, you know. We can say ass. That's a donkey. Tiger Claw's listening to the show and watching Awesome Games Done Quick at the same time. This is the final weekend of Awesome Games Done Quick. I haven't really catched it that much this year. It's been a busy time for us on the network, but I do love Awesome Games Done Quick. Make sure you check out AGDQ. I heard they did a Paper Mario speed run. It's crazy. So yeah, that also explains the lesser than usual live participation, because you know it's hard to compete with Awesome Games Done Quick. They're awesome. Even if you're not interested in speed running yourself, they're playing a lot of cool games, and they tend to be retro. So that's thumbs up right there. Who else do they have? They have Peter Shinkoda, who plays Nobu, and a soon-to-come fellow Georgian. He has a Georgia local, someone that you may know as Shane from The Walking Dead, John Bernthal, and you know, Walking Dead, one of the other shows we talk a lot about. And he played that jerk face, Shane. I wasn't a fan of him, but I'm excited to see him play Frank Castle and be a good guy for once. You know, Frank Castle, the Punisher. Come on, folks. Oh yeah, they also have. I almost forgot one of the main characters. Good lord, that creepy, oddball dude, Vincent D'Onofrio. I believe that's pronounced his name. He plays Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin. He's fantastic as the role. But interestingly enough, he has not become the Kingpin just yet. Spoilers. Now, I do feel at times that the voice and body language is a bit overdone. Like, I think he succumbs to overacting. Maybe it's just me. But that's kind of what he does. Kind of his signature thing. Like, he kind of talks with this, hey, we gotta get him. Yeah, we gotta get him. It's like almost like a Christian Bale Batman type of thing. But it works. It works. Overall, this show, I was not expecting much. People hyped it up left and right. I'm a big fan of Marvel, and ever since they've done this whole Marvel Cinematic Universe and rebooted everything, started off fresh, I've been a fan of everything. I can't think of any stinkers they've had, but I still wasn't sure Daredevil would be my thing. But Daredevil was so good, it almost made me miss living in New York City. And I do miss New York City, but it's just living there is for the birds. It's too expensive. It's too crowded. I'm too finicky these days to be dealing with large crowds and overpaying for everything. Oh, you want a cup of coffee? $10. What? What's in this coffee? You know, if you're a smoker, good lord, I think a pack of cigarettes is up to $15 a pack. That's insane. There's no better reason to quit than that, you know? And vaping doesn't quite do it. I hate to tell you. It's cool, I do it, but not quite the same. Yeah. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. But New York City, I tell you one thing. It's a good place to spend at least summer years. Because the experience there is just crazy. Like, the city truly never sleeps. There's always something to do. Anytime you want to buy something or eat something, there's a place open. It's just crazy, and they do have a lot of selection with food. And I'm a big foodie, so that's one aspect I missed a lot. That's the convenience of walking anywhere and the convenience of having many options for food. Fantastic. The rest of it, not so much. Now, so we talk about Daredevil. Did I skip ahead? No, I didn't. I have a guilty pleasure. This is a TV series. It's a CBS show, and it's not The Big Bang Theory. Now the fact is that, you know, The Big Bang Theory is great, but it's gone mainstream. And I feel like they got so mainstream that it's almost not the same show anymore. Like, they've done it so they could draw new viewers and make more money. And apparently, I guess the geeky, nerdy references, are off-putting to those that are not in the know. I get it. Sometimes we nerds and geeks could be a little elitist, perhaps exclusive, perhaps condescending. So, Two Broke Girls is my guilty pleasure. It comes to us from the creators of Sex and the City, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a winner because I love and relate to Max, one of the main characters. I love her. I relate to her on so many levels. She's honest and authentic, almost to a fault. And she is broken living in NYC. I've been there before. I've made a 6-figure income in NYC, and I've also been broke and living in NYC. And they're surprisingly different. The only difference is how much money you spend and what you eat. Your lifestyle changes a little bit, but being broke in NYC is not fun. I think my cat wants back in here now. She can't make up her mind. What's going on? Okay. Make up your mind, girly.